Hi, welcome to Decluttering Your Home and Your Mind. I am Stephanie. I am known as the Boundaries Babe. I'm fueled by a profound passion for empowering women, especially busy moms. I really want to encourage women to embrace your voice, live unapologetically, and confidently occupy space in every room. And my mission is really to embolden women to live loudly, following your passion with unwavering determination. I also believe that mothers should definitely have time for what's important, which is our own health and relationships. And I would like to have you along on this journey with me. We're going to dive right in today about having a clean home, decluttered home and mind. So having a clean and organized home starts with really understanding where the clutter lives and how it gets there. We're going to overview some key concepts today, so grab a pen and paper or the workbook that you have a download for and your favorite beverage, and let's settle in. To start with decluttering, we really need to understand our emotions about our home and each room. Every time we walk into a space, emotions are evoked, right? We either feel relaxed and able to rest, or we feel anxious and uptight and overwhelmed. So an example would be like if you walk in and there's laundry piled high on the couch and all you want to do is just sit down for 10 minutes before you have to jump up and make dinner, you're not going to be able to, right? You're going to feel guilty about all that laundry. It's going to create stress and anxiety. You're going to feel like you need to jump in and do the laundry. Same thing with dinner. If you walk into the kitchen and you have to clean the kitchen before you can even start cooking, it makes it really hard. So we're going to talk today about like what are the emotions and how do we feel? So in your workbook, I'd like for you to take a few minutes, think about the rooms in your house. If you are watching this, go ahead and pause at home, go ahead and pause it. Take your workbook with you or a piece of paper and walk into each room and look around the room for a few seconds and then close your eyes, even just for 10 seconds, and really think about, how do I feel in my body right now? Am I happy to be in this room? Does it bring me peace and joy? And I can't wait to sit down and have a nice dinner with my family and relax with my partner, maybe have a glass of wine. Or are you feeling like, there's so much to do that you just want to close the door and walk away? There's no judgment here, but journal those feelings out, and then we'll come back to them. One way to really have a decluttered home is to have zones in your home. These are super important because knowing where things should go and having a system to move the clutter around and how to declutter throughout your home offers you the ability to have that ongoing, decluttered, calming space. And we're going to talk about how to do that. We're going to talk about one area of your home, and we're going to talk about zones. So storage is super important when we talk about zones, but I don't want you to feel like you have to go to the Container Store and spend $1,000 to purchase a bunch of things to organize your home. You can use things that you already have, or you can ask for things on Buy Nothing. You can get creative with this. But baskets are great, baskets, hooks, shelving, containers, cardboard boxes, even garbage bags are okay. I always like to think of the example of by the front door, right? Because the front door is something, or wherever your entry point for your home is, maybe it's your garage door, but whatever door everyone comes in and out of, think about that as your entry point. That typically has hats, coats, gloves, scarves, backpacks, shoes, umbrellas, purses and bags, keys, mail, and in the summer it has things like beach towels and flip-flops, right? So can you set systems up in that space? Maybe all of the shoes go either in, like maybe you have 4 family members, you have 4 baskets, and everybody has to have their daily shoes in those baskets, and they each have their own basket. Or maybe you have a basket just for flip-flops, or you have a basket for all of the things that don't hang on the hooks, like the winter gear or the beach towels could hang on hooks, but you get the point. Anything like the gloves and the scarves and the hats and things that are a little bit, don't have a place necessarily to go. And then hooks for things like backpacks and coats and scarves. And everybody has their own hook, right? It's not that there's 25 different things up there. And try to keep this as minimal as possible. So if you each have 5 coats and the closet is overstuffed, can everybody have 2 coats down there and the rest of the coats hang in their actual closet? Think about ways that you can really utilize this space. Maybe this is where you throw mail whenever you first get it, but you've already sorted through it, maybe walking into the door, and all of the garbage mail automatically goes into the recycling. So you're not touching things over and over again. The other thing that I like to talk about when it comes to zones is really being able to have a way to move clutter throughout your house. Your home is to be lived in, right? It's not a museum. So it gets messy. If you have, especially if you have kids, and I always like to use the example of multi-story houses because it's the clearest. So if you have, let's say everybody has a family room and you've got puzzles and books and toys and backpacks and homework and all of those things. How do you move that clutter from the family room to where it needs to be? So if there's a basket sitting at the bottom of the stairs, you throw everything that needs to go upstairs into that basket. And the next time somebody goes upstairs, they take the basket and then they just put everything in the room it's supposed to be in. And then it's that person's responsibility to then put their own things away. Same thing with the top of the stairs. You have a basket at the top of the stairs for anything that maybe needs to go downstairs, whether that be laundry or, backpacks or whatever, or sports gear. Sports gear is a great one. So putting those things into where you can move them around easily. Same thing with really getting, your system set up for things like, your keys always go in the same spot and your bills are always in the same spot. So I know we do a lot of auto pay now, but you know where those things are. This is a homework piece, but we're going to go over it anyway because this is kind of an ongoing thing that you need to do if you really want to have a decluttered home. So do a clean sweep. And I always suggest doing everything in short bursts of time. It's going to be more fun especially if you get your kids involved, more fun for the family. It's going to be something that's super attainable and you're going to be able to get a whole lot done in a short amount of time with no yelling and no whining. So I say 15 to 20 minutes max. If you have really little kids, maybe 5 or 10. And use this time to do things like throw out anything that's expired, any garbage that's old, create a donation pile, which goes back to a system. Having a donation bin in different areas throughout your house is really great to be able to always put something in there. You really want to touch things as few times as possible. You don't want to keep moving a shirt that needs to get donated from the closet to the floor to the laundry back into the closet, right? So having a place for that to go. And I say pile here, but I really suggest making it a cardboard box or a laundry basket or something that is an easy thing to pick up and throw in your car to go donate. And then clean off any visible clutter. So in the idea of this, we'll use as an example the kitchen. If you walk into the kitchen and there's clutter in the kitchen and there's stuff all over the countertops, the first thing you want to do is just do a clean sweep and get everything off the countertops. So maybe anything that's important mail you put in one spot that can be looked at later. And then anything that needs to go in any other room goes in that basket to go into the other rooms. And then anything that's going to get donated, you donate. And anything that needs to be thrown out, whether that be expired food or something that's sitting on the counter that's just garbage, get all of that out of there, because the faster that you can get those spaces, the visual space, clean and free of clutter, the faster you're going to start feeling more at calm and ease in your home. And the easier it is to really dive in and get those other things decluttered, those deeper, drawers and cabinets and things. What this is not a time for, this is not a time to defrost the freezer and pull everything out of the fridge and wipe everything down and put it all back and then start it on the pantry, or have somebody start on the pantry and somebody start on the fridge. This is a time to just literally clean sweep the space. So any surface that you can see. And always think of, bathrooms, kitchens, and then bedrooms secondary, but those main living room spaces first. Why is it important to have a clean and organized home? Well, your health and well-being and happiness. Science has proven that having a clean and organized space reduces stress and anxiety, creates higher productivity, saves you time and money. You have more energy and peace, less family fighting, higher generosity, and more space and serenity in your home. Let's talk about that for a minute. Stress and anxiety come in many forms for us moms. It comes in the way of feeling like we have to do everything and that everything's messy, right? Stress and anxiety are a huge culprit in heart disease, and heart disease is the #1 killer of women in the US over anything else. So the more we can reduce our stress and anxiety, the better. And having a calm and serene home is something that 100% elevates our life and our happiness, right? We're more productive because we're not spending time looking for something. We know where it's at, which brings us to saving money and time. We're not buying something because we can't find it. And we're not having those fights in the morning because somebody misplaced their soccer cleats. You have more energy because you're not spending all this mental and emotional energy on fighting and running around and being frustrated and angry, which brings more peace to your family, which brings less fighting. And science has proven that the more you get into the habit of having a cleaner, more minimalistic, and you don't have to be super minimalistic, but the cleaner, more minimalistic home that's actually organized, the more generous you feel, and the higher probability of kids wanting to give things and be generous to others is. And part of that is because it doesn't throw them into a lack and scarcity mindset because they can't find their things. And then, of course, you have more space in your home and just more serenity. We're going to talk through a couple of the main parts of our home and how to declutter those and how to keep them decluttered. Obviously, the first one is your closet, right? I suggest setting a timer. Again, I'm big on timers because it keeps you really accountable. I suggest blaring really loud music that everybody loves. And if you're doing this as a family activity, especially if you're doing one of the bigger ones that's not a 10 or 15 minute clean sweep, maybe making it like a, hey, we'll all go get pizza afterwards, right? So I always suggest 45 minutes for closets the first time you do it. And I suggest doing your closets once a season or once a quarter. First thing that you should do is pull everything out and get rid of anything that needs to be donated. Well, obviously, anything that's ripped or torn, you can recycle to a ThredUp or H&M, or you can donate, right? Don't donate things that can't be reused, but you can donate. So again, a donation bin in your closet makes it so this clutter doesn't build up. If you come across something and it doesn't fit anymore, you don't like the way the fabric feels, you just throw it directly into the donation pile. If you want to do this in a shorter burst of time, like 20 minutes, then you don't even need to pull everything out of your closet. You can just go through and get rid of the things that you know you don't wear, right? And then you can do another round the second time and you can organize your closet however you want it to be organized. Maybe it's by outfit or maybe it's by color. That's up to you. But then you can do this in short bursts. Anytime you have something coming into your closet, you should really think about what that's going to replace, unless it's something that was worn out, which is still a replacement, right? But if you're just buying clothes for the sake of buying clothes and your closet is stuffed full, it's time to start donating, recycling, selling, those things. And of course, anytime that it's the end of the season, you can think about, if you're somewhere that has like severe seasons and you don't keep your sweaters out in your closet for summer, and vice versa, your summer clothes for winter, what do you really want to take to that next season? You can even write a list of the things that you need for that next season that you can go and start purchasing. You can even purchase them now while they're on sale before you get to next season. But you can really only take the pieces that you love that are still, in good shape into the next season. So that's one way to maintain a decluttered closet. Also, I'll get just on the closet thing really quick too, especially if you have kids that are, let's say you're saving clothes for a friend or for a family member or for a younger child, having bins in the top of the closet that are labeled. And again, this can be cardboard boxes. I do recommend lining your cardboard box with a garbage liner because cardboard often has oil in it that leaks into the clothes and ruins them. So the plastic will keep that from happening. But it can even be a cardboard box, and just label like what the size is. And same thing with if you're going to donate it or give it away, then you've got it already. And whenever that box is full, or when you see that person next, you just give them that box. And then when your kids are at the point that they're growing into those next stages of clothes, you just have to pull out that one box, right? Your kitchen. Your kitchen is an ever evolving, probably most used room in the house next to the living room. So if you come across something that's expired or not good, throw it away. Don't keep moving it around. I like to say, that piece with the half a bag of, rice has been back there for like 2 years and feels really sticky and gross. If you're not going to eat it, the rice is probably good, but if you're not going to eat it, throw it away. If you have food that maybe has come into your house through some form, maybe a gathering, and it's canned goods that are not expired that you don't want, find a way to donate those, right? Keeping things off the counter. So having a designated spot for mail that needs to be dealt with, and making sure that you're recycling and throwing out junk mail the minute that it comes in, so that you're not constantly, again, touching items over and over again. Your bedroom. Your bedroom is your sanctuary. So keep it clean, keep it clutter-free. Pro tip is to keep your devices out of the room at night. You're not only going to sleep better, but you're going to have a deeper relationship with your partner, and you're just going to be able to connect in a much deeper way. If you use your phone as an alarm, I suggest putting it in a drawer. But my first recommendation would be really to go and get an analog. You can buy them very inexpensively, typically at like a Walmart, an IKEA, possibly a Target, for sure on Amazon. There's beautiful ones that have like chimes. There's the sunrise one. So there's lots of different ways that you can wake up without it having to be your phone. And the reason for this is not just the blue light. It's also, if your phone's by your bed, there's a high probability the first thing you're doing in the morning is scrolling on social media, which is incredibly bad for your mental health. So again, I just suggest trying to keep your phone out of the bedroom at night. And then you have to set boundaries, right? You have to set boundaries around what comes into your house or what stays in your house. So we already went over the clothes. If you are bringing in new clothes, how do you get rid of those old clothes? How do you pass them on? Buy nothing, offer up, thread up, consignment, Goodwills, local thrift stores. All of those are really great places that you can, make some money, especially if you have designer wear, or you can just pass on. Toiletries in your bathroom. If I always say, because it's true, I have friends that collect the soaps from hotels, and by collect them I mean they have baskets and baskets of them in their bathrooms, and they never ever use them. So either don't bring them home, right, or maybe bring them home and offer them up to guests, and if guests don't use them, donate them to a local shelter, donate them to the soup kitchens and the churches where they have, shelters and overnight shelters and things like that. They oftentimes also will put together bags to hand out on the street to those that are less fortunate, that need things like toothbrushes, toothpaste, soap, sanitizer, those types of things. If you have something that you that makeup that you're never going to use, but you can't bear to part with, throw it out. It's time. Books, newspapers, magazines. I'm an avid reader. So this is something that piles up in my house. So magazines, if you keep it because you want a recipe in it, either rip the recipe out and throw it into a 3-ring binder, keep it in your kitchen, use a scan app and scan everything onto your computer. But recycle those. Again, any thrift store will take magazines. You can donate them to a local preschool. They do a lot of crafting projects. Newspapers you can compost. They're great if you garden. You can put them at the bottom of your garden beds. Books, keep the books you love, pass on the books you don't. The library is great to rent books if you don't want a lot of book clutter. If you love books and you want a lot of books in your house, fine. Have a system so they're not everywhere. And then toys. I always like to say, toys are kind of like clothes, right? Especially for kids. So again, the more you can get your kids into the, hey, after a birthday or a holiday, you were just so blessed. You got all of these things. Let's give, put a number on it, 5, 7 of your toys that you don't love anymore to another child that can use them. and then you can donate those. I used to, when my kids were little, I used to, if they left toys on the floor before they left for like a weekend to go to their dad's, I would put them in a garbage bag. And if they didn't ask for a toy out of that garbage bag for 6 months, I donated the whole garbage bag. I just threw it in the garage, I threw it in a laundry closet. And the reason for that is because, out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes kids are super attached to that one toy, right? And then they ask for it and you get it and you explain to them it needs to not be on the floor, but they get it back. But the rest of them, you don't bring the whole bag out. It's a great way to really make them cherish their things more, right? And then keepsakes. Keepsakes are a really hard one because there's so much emotion tied to it. So I help clients really learn how to break that emotional tie to keepsakes that they don't really care about, but feel guilty. Same thing with gifts, right? There's often a lot of emotion attached to these two things. So a couple things you can do with them. If you get gifts consistently, right, from somebody, a family member usually, or even work that you really are not going to use, maybe you keep getting scented candles and you're allergic, ask them kindly, just say, I really appreciate the thought, I just don't want you to waste your money, these make me not feel well. I would love if instead, I love a coffee card. Or you could even say something like, our family prefers experiences. So instead of being showered with physical things that are coming into your home that you then have to sort through, maybe you're getting, a gift card out to dinner or an experience where you can go do something. Same thing with holidays. You can decide what works for your family. I have a whole thing on holidays, but just for the sake of this, you can always say instead of everybody buying tons of gifts, we're going to do family experiences this time, and maybe something you need, or so many people buy gifts, right? That it's hard. You're going to be hard pressed. It'll take a long time before you get to the point that there's no gift exchanged. And keepsakes, again, can you use it? Is it something that you really cherish and you want to use? So china, can you use the china? Can you bring it out and put it into your cupboard? Do you have a bunch of band t-shirts that you just can't part with? Can you make that into a blanket or a cool piece of art? Do you really want all those trophies from when you played softball? Like, find the things that you can let go of, find the things you can pass on, find the things you can recycle, and then find the things that you can utilize in your daily life so that you're really appreciating the purpose of keeping the keepsake. If you have kids, they have lots of things, right? They make you lots of presents on holidays and birthdays, and they come home with lots of drawings, and there's lots of things that you want to keep. Create a box for them. Keep the item out for a little while, put it in the box, and then when they're old enough, go through the box together and dwindle it down. Or maybe at the end of every, summer, before you go back to school, go through the box again for everything you've collected that school year and that summer, and maybe keep the top, 10 or 15 or 20 of whatever they can't part with. Sometimes they're going to be like, I don't care about that, but you really love it, right? So keep the things that really mean a lot in the box, and keep the box for when they get older, and then pass that on to them. Decluttering is a process. This is not a one and done, unfortunately. So to keep your home decluttered, you have to take the following steps often. Touch items only once when possible. So always, again, as I said, set up systems for donating, recycling, and trash, and do this often. Keep your donation bins easily accessible and schedule a time for a drop-off or a pickup regularly according to your family's needs. I know when we were in Seattle, we didn't have a car because everything was walkable, so I used Buy Nothing quite a bit. But I believe that lots of cities also they'll come and pick up donations from you. And just, again, keep those bins where they're convenient. Keep them in the family closets. Keep one in maybe the coat closet. Keep one in the garage. Keep them where it's not cumbersome to go drop the item off into the box. And then have a 15-minute family session once a week or once a month. If you're just starting out and your house is really cluttered, you're probably going to need a good weekly session. You can still get a lot done in 15 minutes. And the key is, right, if you keep up on it over the week, then the next weekend, you're doing something a little bit different. So maybe you're starting with all of those surfaces, but you're keeping the surfaces clean during the week. And then when it comes to Saturday, you're moving on to maybe a shelf in the pantry and a shelf in the bathroom. And so you can kind of divide and conquer that way. Make it fun. Blast music. Aim, especially for really young kids, If you can get rid of 5 toys out of your room, get all the garbage out of it, and pick up all of your clothes, then you can play for the rest of the time. Give them really tangible things that they can do. And make sure when you're doing this that you're constantly clearing out garbage, right? Anything that's crumpled up, broken, torn, tattered, just get rid of it, and just do it every single time you do a sweep through that room. This is your home and your family, so make sure that you're bringing joy into it and fun, because there's nothing worse than needing to declutter your house and then on top of it having a family fight. So again, maybe it could be something that you go do a family activity that you all love afterwards. Maybe you order pizza or you watch a movie, and just keep it short. It doesn't matter how cluttered your house is. Keep these to very, very realistic short bursts. I say 30 minutes absolute max, and that's if you have older kids. If you really want to do like a whole day decluttering of your entire house, you can do it, but typically I hear from clients that everybody's in tears by the end of the afternoon, right? So to avoid that, just doing short bursts periodically and more frequently. So we're going to move on to the mind. Your mind is important because a clear mind is a calm mind. And when you're calm, you're able to better react to situations, and you're not yelling, and you're not losing your temper, and you're not stressed, and you're not anxious, and you're not, having high blood pressure, and you're not doing all of those things that leads to the stress and anxiety and that leads to the heart disease. So we're going to talk about how to clear your mind with a pretty quick exercise that's one of my favorites. So it's clearing the mind, and it's brain dumping. If you've never brain dumped before, there is a section in your workbook that you can use, or you can just pull out a piece of paper. If you're a very digital person, grab your digital note-taking app and open it, and you're going to set a timer. You're going to set a timer for, I always say 5 to 10 minutes. I think the shorter the better. Some people like to do 10 to 15. You can decide what works for you. And you're just going to write everything that's in your head and get it onto paper or this digital app. I am 100% pen and paper. However, I also have a digital notes, use the notes in my app. So sorry, I had to pause it for a second. So I'm just going to start with number 2. So write out everything that's in your head. So all the tasks, your to-dos, your appointments, everybody else's appointments you have to make, goals, etc. Zero judgment here. Just write everything, get it out of your head. That's what I was saying. I am pen to paper, but I also keep the note. I use the Notes app on my iPhone to also keep a running list, because I want to make sure that if something pops into my head, this is a great, if you're dropping kids off at school and something pops into your head, put it into your digital notes and set aside time once a week to go through and pull those notes out and get them through this process, right? And then you're going to tackle your task list. So you're going to start by categorizing, and then we're going to go into color coding. So what I mean by categorizing is you're going to take like items and put them together. So if you need to make doctor appointments, you're going to put all the doctor appointments in one thing, or maybe all of your family items in one thing. So you can do this by using highlighters, Post-its, or symbols. So like a star for your family, an exclamation point for your goals or your business, a dot for your to-dos, etc. Right? It's easier if you color code. And if you color code, this is a quick task, right? So don't overthink it. Purple for family, red for personal, yellow for business, or green for business, blue for whatever. Keep it super, super simple. And then you're going to take those tasks and you're going to break them down into manageable chunks. So before you do that, you're going to go through and you're going to decide what can you delete. What has been on your list that you roll over, list to list to list, so you don't actually care about. Delete it. Get rid of it. Get it out of your head. Just get rid of it. And then what can you delegate? Can somebody else make a doctor appointment? Can somebody else get the oil changed in the car? Can somebody else take things to donation? Or can you ask somebody to call and have it picked up? Write their name beside that so that you can remember to actually delegate it to them. The rest of the things are left with what you need to do. So For this, I'm going to say break it into manageable chunks because we're going to use the example of weight loss, right? If you want to lose 10 pounds, you're not going to lose it overnight, but you can lose it in 3 months. To do that, you have to figure out your action steps for the 3 months. So you're going to start with saying, by the end of 90 days, I want to have lost 10 pounds. To start, what are you going to do to lose the 10 pounds? Are you going to eat better? And are you going to exercise? And if you're going to exercise, what kind of exercise are you going to do? And what do you need to accomplish that exercise? I use the example of running. If you absolutely love running and you haven't been doing it, do you have the gear to go running? If you don't, you need to put on your schedule time to go shop for the gear to go running, even if it's online shopping, right? Do you then have the appropriate clothing? That would also be part of the gear, right? Can you maybe get that all at once? If you're going to eat healthier, do you need to go through your pantry and take out anything that's going to cause you to not want to eat healthy? Junk food, things that you don't want to be eating during this 3-month time period. And then how can you replace those things, right? So you need to put these things on your calendar because you're going to need time to set yourself up so that you're successful in whatever it is you want to do. Same thing with moving things together. So let's say you need to make a dentist appointment and your husband or your partner needs to make a doctor appointment and you need to get the kids' checkups done. Can you block out an hour to make all of those appointments in 1 hour instead of doing a little bit here and a little bit there? Or are you so busy, which is totally fine, that you only have 5 minutes? Can you do one of those things every day for the next week so that every single day those 4 things are getting done and they're getting taken off your list? Putting them in your calendar is how you're going to get these things done. So once you've deleted, you've delegated, you're left with everything you want to do, that's when you start calendaring. If you need more help with this, feel free to reach out because this is something I actually teach. I teach all of these things, but this is something that I can give you some more information that is, I'm willing to just, help you with this piece of it at no charge. So thank you so much for sitting through this with me. My name is Stephanie Jones. Again, I'm known as the Boundaries Babe. I would love to stay connected. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I will be going on YouTube soon, but you can find me at Steph the Boundaries Babe, on Instagram, Steph_the Boundaries Babe, and TikTok at the Boundaries Babe. I super appreciate your time. Again, feel free to reply with any questions that you may have or any ahas and takeaways. I would love to connect.